Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today is a day that I'm going to be slightly transforming the Bonneville. First off, with the obvious aesthetics, cosmetics. The King and Queen Royal seat is coming off, being replaced with my old Motone crate skinny seat. So that's going on in place of it. I'm taking off the rear rack as well, just to slim out and simplify the rear profile. Reason I'm doing this, purely, I just fancy a change and I haven't had the crate skinny seat on for so long. Now to the sensible stuff. Two main things here. One, I've done a completely new QUADLOCK setup on my phone and I want to show you, QUADLOCK setup on my bike, so I want to show you that. And the reason being, when I was riding through Europe last year, I had the wireless charger on my QUADLOCK, which is brilliant, but I then realized I had a whole load of other things that I needed to charge, and I really need my USB port within easy reach, i.e. not under the seat when I've got panniers and luggage strapped there and I have to take everything off every time. I need it right on the handlebar, so I've switched up where the QUADLOCK is. I've now got the QUADLOCK USB mount to the handlebar, so I'll show you that. There were also a couple of other bits from Motone I'll be fitting, including a helmet lock onto the Bonneville, just to make things easier when stopping off going for a coffee. I can easily and securely lock it to the bike. And finally, a few other bits and pieces like quick release side panel and seat screws as well. So by the end of it, should take about 45 minutes. The Bonneville should be infinitely easier to live with on a daily basis. And of course, the seat and the rear rack, well, that's just a bit of fun. My new and improved QUADLOCK setup. Well, improved for me and my requirements. So you've got the two wires here that attach directly to the battery. From there, I've neatly led it through this bit of the frame under here. And you can see here the wire just coming along that's been cable tied and attached to keep it as slick as possible under the tank. Then follows all the way around here and comes out to the left-hand side of the Speedo where it attaches to the handlebar mount. Now this is, I wonder if you can see it, this is the Handlebar Mount Pro. It's made from I think it's CNC aluminium, so really nice quality, never rusts. And above that you've got the vibration dampener. And I've gone back to the traditional, the standard QUADLOCK lever, very minimal, very slick. And below that, this is the key here. This is a little USB-C to A wire directly from QUADLOCK. Nice stealth little black one. And that means that I've got USB charging, not just for my phone when I'm using it for navigation, but for all other electrical items that I use. And I'll show you it around the back. That is how it looks. That's the aluminium, CNC and aluminium handlebar mount. You can see the vibration dampener there working away. USB section here with the traditional black lever and mount for the phone itself. Anything that can make your riding experience more simple, for me, translates directly into enjoyment. I mean, there's a reason why I believe it's the modern classics and the adventure bikes are the two genres of motorcycles that are actually growing in popularity. Modern classics, it's booming at the moment, of course, because people love the style and the simplicity. But polar opposite end of the scale, you've got the adventure bikes. The reason these are booming in popularity, well, they're phenomenal, they do everything well, but key to that for me is usability and practicality. I know after having a lot of different press bikes and stuff, the bike that you ride the most is the one that's often easiest to ride. If you have, for example, a really aggressive sports bike or a cafe racer with clip-on bars, it does sometimes mean that for the longer journeys, You almost have to mentally prepare yourself for the upcoming agony on your wrists or being uncomfortable, or if you've got an adventure bike and you go to a modern classic, the lack of wind protection, for example. So any little things you can do, especially if you've got a modern classic like this, to make your riding experience simpler and easier. For me, it has transformed my riding experience more so than any other element of biking. Yes, of course, I love the modern classics, but the things that you can do to your bike within that modern classic and all genres can mean that you ride more, and rides are more attainable more of the time. For example, I used to not have panniers. I used to not have a phone mounting system. So every time I'd go on a longer ride, I'd have to pack up my backpack, squeeze everything in, and really agonize over the different bits that I'd take on a biking trip. Now, with panniers here from Hepco & Becker, clip it on, lock it, takes about 5 seconds, you pack upstairs, and you're not desperately bungee cording everything to the back of your bike. Similarly with the phone, I used to have this huge, strange phone mounting system with no charge, so I'd have to stop every 2 hours to charge the phone, be really careful with how I used the sat-nav. But now with QUADLOCK, I've got my phone always fully charged. It's one less bit of kit to have to take now that you don't need a sat-nav. And I move on to today, to a Welsh company called Motone. Now, I've had a bit of Motone stuff in the past, and I can vouch for them. Their stuff is of the very highest quality. They do parts for the likes of Triumph and Royal Enfield. Their stuff never ever rusts. It's of the most beautiful, usually I think billet aluminium, which means it's solid as a rock. And I've got a few bits from them. Now, you may remember I said I am putting my Bonneville fairly back to standard, but I will use Motone as an exception because some of the bits that they have are really genuinely useful, and they are better quality than Triumph parts. So I see no issue in that at all. Let me run you through what I've got, and I'll start with the back of the bike. So instead of taking my screwdriver every time I go for a ride and having to unscrew the seat if ever I need to get to the battery, these silver aluminium screws will just unscrew the back of the seat, so I can take it on and off just with my hand without having to take a screwdriver. That will go on the back. I've then got something that I mentioned on the last video, and that is something I'm really excited about. A helmet lock. Now, I'm not 100% sure how to fit this yet, but in essence, I'll get a bit closer to show you. A key will go in there, that will open up this lever here, and then I can clip the helmet to the side, the shock of my bike, and it will look very, very stealth, very understated. You wouldn't know it's there if you didn't see it, and it will mean that I don't have to carry, for example, a padlock or an extra lock around with my bike. It will mean I just attach one key to my keychain, and I've got a secure helmet locking system. I've never used one of these, so let's see how easy it is. And finally, before I get onto that, I will show you, if I haven't lost one box.
She's my what?
Okay, I've lost one box. If I find it, I'll let you know. Right, I'll cut some B-roll. I will start putting on the helmet mount, I think the helmet lock first, and hopefully at some point I'll be able to find my side panel bolts.
She's my what? What is she? She's my doodly-doo. What? She's my what? She's my doodly-doo. What? She's my what? She's my doodly-doo. She's my
had some good and slightly annoying news. Good news is I found the 2 side panel bolts from Motone. So this will go on the side panel of the bike and that will go on the other side. The only problem is I've got, of course, here the Motone helmet lock. And I've just realized I'm actually going to have to take off the top bolt of the shock and pull off the top of the shock. But the bike mount is in the allotment. And Monica's mum has the key to the allotment and she's at work, so I have to leave the helmet lock to the very last thing. Interestingly, this, I forgot how heavy it was. You know, that's got to be a good 7 kilos. It's got to be something like that, 7 kilos or so. It's a real weight to always have on the back of the Bonneville. So this for now will all be going. I'll put this in Monica's mum's allotment for safekeeping. I'll put back on the pannier rails, these black ones, but you can see, in fact, I'll flip the camera, or I'll aim the camera at the bike, just so you can see how much more slimline it makes the rear of the bike look. And these are, just as a close-up, the Motone parts. So you've got quick release seat screws, you've got the side panel screws, and of course you've got the lock with the helmet lock mount as well that goes behind the shock. I do love this model Bonneville for its simplicity. It's fuel injection, but apart from that, nothing else. Fuel injection became mandatory in 2016, so this is one of the last bikes with nothing at all, and you can just see it. Of course, you saw it with the tank off, but even here, you know, it's not full of loads of wiring. This is the QUADLOCK wiring, so take this wire away and it's literally just the battery and a few fuses and other bits, solenoids I think and stuff there, but that's it. It's all so beautifully simple, and bikes like this, they're so incredibly easy to work on. It's like just Lego for adults, I always said, but this bike is the easiest bike I've ever worked on. Well, you can see the transformation already. It may be close to a year since I've had the Bonneville going back like this, and again, it feels like a new bike. Oh, just push that straight. You can see just the pannier rail here on the side now, but that rear end is pretty much how it would have come out of Triumph. Take away these, of course, just very, very minimal. And I cannot wait to get back out and ride it. Have a look at this. So, on goes the Motone crate skinny seat, and these bolts will be easy release behind it. So, wow. Okay, seat on. 2 of the screws to attach it. You'll see, maybe I'll push this. You'll see that the screws will protrude a little bit. In fact, I may need to get that a bit closer. There we go. You'll see that the screws will protrude a little bit, and that's because you've got to take into account these are easy release for the king and queen seat. So for the crate one, they will stick out a little bit further, but I quite like it actually. There's one of them, and the second. Wow, such a change. And then, of course, quick release for the side panels. So before, I'd have to use a screwdriver to take it off, and now put it on like that, and I just use one of these quick release ones, so I don't need to take a toolkit with me, and I can just release it by hand wherever I am. And I went for aluminium over black, just because I quite like a few aluminium touches on the bike. Beautiful. I wanted to say that's it, but I now need to see if I can get to the allotment later in the afternoon. But this is, in essence, apart from one little helmet lock, I may even buy 2, one for either side, Monica and I. This is it, the new look Bonneville, a good, probably 7 kilos lighter when you take the seat into account as well. And one other thing I should say, the seat height is so much lower now. This is such a skinny seat with less padding than the huge King and Queen one. King and Queen one, I admit, is much more comfortable. But if you're a shorter rider looking to make your Bonneville, for example, much more easy on the leg angle, this must save, feels like it saves a good 3 centimeters or so. It's a colossal saving, maybe 2 centimeters, but you can see how low my legs are now, and it completely changes the feel of the bike. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pack everything away here, tidy everything up, go and have some lunch, wait for Monica's mum to come back, and then I'm going to get that helmet lock on, but I'm over the moon. I may keep it like this, actually, throughout the whole of next year, including the summer, depending on whether I feel I need the rear rack or not. I'm so happy with it the way it is. The biggest problem with living in the flat, just end up misplacing everything. I've checked Monica's mum's allotment here, I've pinched her car to go and have a look, and there's nothing in there apart from some old tools that I haven't used in ages. So I'm going to have to go back to the flat, see if the ramp is there, otherwise, well, won't be able to lift the bike, and I don't think I'll be able to get the suspension arm back on the bike if I don't have a lift to release some of the pressure. So last chance, back to the flat, and then I must have left it in Barcelona or something, I guess. Well, I'm annoyed. I've checked the car, both cars actually, all of the flat and the allotment, can't find the lift anywhere, and I've got a low level of patience with everything and a low attention span, a short attention span, so I don't want to wait anymore. I'm going to try and do this, unbolt the rear shock, take it off without having any kind of ramp or lift for the bike. And the reason I'm going to try this is because the Bonneville's fairly small and it can be lifted relatively easily. But I've never taken off a rear shock, and I honestly don't know how stupid this is. Monica says she's having nothing to do with it and she's not coming down to help if, I don't know, something ridiculous happens. I'm very, very dubious about this, but my attention span's so short. I must get this helmet lock on today, so here goes. Pannier rail loosened. Okay, left hand shock off. Now this goes on. Excuse the funny positions. Woo! Done. I can't believe that. Actually, it was fine. That's the great thing about little bikes. Okay, I'll screw this on. I'll do some B-roll, screw it on, and then I'll show you the helmet lock in action. It's the first time I've ever unscrewed a shock before. Good, I've learnt something new today. Okay, I'm going to do a close-up of the helmet lock. You won't be able to see me, but I want to do a close-up so you can see it. This is it. Incredibly stealth here. I had to lift up the suspension off again because I put a small rubber grommet in between the frame and the suspension just so it wouldn't move around. So, key goes in, twist the key and this pops open. Metal hook of the helmet goes in there, click shut, take the keys off, and that's it. Oh, it's a revelation. Motorbike helmet sorted. I think I like it so much I'm going to get one for the right-hand side of the bike as well. Well, that's it. All done, and ended on a positive where I managed to just about fit everything. I think I said it would take me about 45 minutes at the start of the video. It is now 4:30, so it's taken me 5.5 hours, which sounds about right for my level of guessing how long things usually take on a bike. It always takes around about 4 to 5 times longer than I imagine. I have no idea how everything takes me forever to do, but I'm just happy it's done. You can go and check out QUADLOCK if you're interested in phone mounting solutions, USB charging solutions for motorbikes, cars, and anything in between. It probably is, QUADLOCK, my setup here, the single biggest game-changing bit of kit that I've ever come across and owned for a motorbike. I can't recommend them highly enough, so do go and check those out if you're interested. And thank you all for coming along and following me on this journey to give the Bonneville a little refresh. Thanks so much all. I will see you in the next one, and have a fantastic week.
Do up, diddling, ding,